You're listening to NTParanormal After Dark. Nothing normal about it.
So what Sarah really missed out on last week was probably my rant about the latest episode of Ghost Adventures that I watched.
Yeah, that was fun.
Then you made me watch it.
I did make you watch it, and I also got your son addicted to the show.
Yeah, he's been watching it since then.
Yeah.
Pretty much nonstop.
I mean, I like Ghost Adventures. I like watching it.
I'd never watched it before.
It's got high production value. I like to look at it for, market research, things like that. But then they go to places that we've actually investigated, and it just pisses me off. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but just, certain people that, we've interviewed, and they've said certain things about a certain area, and then Zach Bagans goes out there and asks him the exact same questions, and all of a sudden, it's a half man, half goat.
Is it Bagans? I've been calling him Baggins.
I go with Baggins.
Okay.
Baggins.
Well, it helps for the first name I've given him, but...
Yeah. But, I don't know.
I can confirm that there is not a half man, half goat at that location.
I did find it interesting that they actually caught evidence in the same places where we were
where
seeing.
the bush attacked me?
Yeah, like, the angry bush, the angry goat bush, burning bush.
It seemed more possum-like to me.
Bush. Becky Vickers pissed me the
You're not
fuck
supposed
off.
to say her name.
I was so mad because we talked to her and she's like, "Oh yeah, the history of the place and the old black guy that called himself the Goat Man. Like, there's a real history to the place."
Yeah, he wasn't a half man, half goat. He just tended goats.
Right, and she never said that before. She never said like, "Oh, it's a half man, half goat." She went with the actual story there, and she's like, "Oh, we got some cool photographs out here. We've talked to some cool people, stuff like that." And then she gets on there and she's like, "Oh, I definitely saw a half man, half goat, and I don't know where he came from. I'm pretty sure it came from her imagination."
You know who would have been a better interview? Those stoner kids we ran into.
Those guys were amazing. I still have their footage somewhere.
Oh my god, I loved them.
Oh, actually, I think I put them in the video anyway.
Dude, they were funny.
And high.
Oh my god,
so high.
Our mom's gonna find out about this.
And you kept following around the Hispanic one before you
he-
realized he was a teenager?
No, I wasn't. They were gonna go
She
show
was
me
following him hardcore into the woods, dude.
No, they said they wanted to show me something in the woods. It did not occur to me that they were going to... It
Show
did not,
you something in the woods?
It did not occur to me later till Allie's like, "Hey, stop walking off alone with them. You're going to end up murdered." I was like, "Oh, shit, I almost ended up murdered."
Yeah, she was about 50 yards ahead of us, about to end up in a weird three-way demon gangbang that we were not going to be able to stop because we were in the middle of the woods, didn't know where we were.
And then I got paranoid. Like, when I saw that y'all were way far back there, I was like, "Oh, it just occurred to me that this is a bad situation." Too late.
Yeah, it was an interesting night. I mean, my frustration with Alton, like we've said before, is just that we kept going out there over and over and over. And the only evidence we would ever catch was just teenagers parking out there, porking, just practicing making babies.
Oh, God, we took my dad out there to ghost hunt, and there was just those two people making out across the bridge. Stop it.
Yeah, like they acted interested at first, and then we started explaining, like, they're like, "Oh, you're ghost hunters? Oh, that's really, really interesting." And then they like sat down on the bridge
And we
with us.
pan away, pan back. And
We're talking about what we're doing, and then I move the camera back over there, and I'm like, because they just have their tongues like in each other's colon, like from the top down, and all I could think of was Becky Vickers going, "Nope, nothing there, just some creepy stuff up on the bridge."
I wish we had recorded your rant as it was happening.
You know, okay, I really like Ghost Adventures. I don't think a lot of people are like, oh, it's scripted. Okay, it's scripted. They're trying to get ratings, stuff like that. I have no ill will towards them. They have a really good program. They're making money. It has to be entertaining to keep the ratings up. It makes sense. I mean, I try to make our stuff entertaining and honest. I don't think that they really fake their evidence. I think they overhype what they do find. But and it's not the show that pissed me off. It's the a-holes that participated with them.
Well,
All that, like, and I get it. Like, if they came in, I'd probably hype up a little bit, for the show or whatever.
And that's the thing. It
But-
boils down to like, oh, I'm gonna be on a TV show.
But what made me mad is her story completely changed.
It's because she was on a TV show.
The credibility, like, this is why our field is not credible. Like,
I also like how we've been out there 3 times. I walked out in the woods like a mile off the
Oh,
path.
God.
With
And
the
their
Mexican
camera
guy.
lady had, like, alone, when we were out there with my dad, I walked way up that path. And their camera lady had to quit. I was out in those woods by myself for
what
like
made
30
me mad
minutes.
about the way they filmed that, they made the perspective look like they're like, oh, we're back at the trailer, and we're using a telephoto lens to see deep
There's a
into the
road
heart of the
2 feet
wilderness
away.
where she's at. Dude, she's like 10 feet down the trail. Like,
I walked further than...
on our live stream, she walked further where I was like, hey guys, I'm getting bored. Let's start. Like, she was back there, and they're like, oh, the people have gone into these woods and never come out. It just goes for miles and miles
I found
and miles.
red
No,
solo cups all along the
there's
pathway.
a friggin' fence around the whole area, first off.
There's a giant church.
There's a giant church with spotlights just, like, right over to the side. It's...
And there's a road right there, which is why you can't get any evidence because a car blasts by every 10 seconds. So even if there's no one out there, you have traffic.
It angered me. It angered me so much. And I was screaming at the television, and I was screaming at Mike.
I was
And
dying
I
laughing
was-
the entire time.
I was screaming at Facebook. I really was not happy about it.
I think at one point you threatened to like throw a toilet paper roll through the TV to try and kill somebody.
I don't think that works.
I don't know. If
The anger that he was putting behind it might have.
I don't know. I feel bad. Like, if their photographer was really afflicted with something, I feel bad for him. I've been out there. People hike there all there's no, and we have to go back. We have to go back now
Why? That place is fucking terrible.
because the crap they caught was really cool, and I want to know, like, even.
Fake.
I got it.
I'll go back with you.
Do you want poison ivy? Because that's how you get poison ivy.
I
They-
am immune to poison ivy.
They
actually.
somehow captured,
bitch.
like, some free-floating eyes or something. But
Right in front of the bridge.
right in front of the bridge where we got a lot of, like, random stuff that, nothing we really tagged a whole lot in our video, but we did have, like, some experiences or whatever that we didn't call evidence. But that's the main place they were catching evidence. But the thing is one of the big trails that they were going down where they got the most activity, it's the one that's right by the damn highway. They act like they're, like, deep in the woods,
Well,
but the
that
thing is they're
trail-
walking right down alongside the highway,
Yeah.
and then the woods are to the left.
Well, that trail, if they went far enough down, we didn't go that far down that trail. We went down the other trail. It does start to arc to the left.
It
but
does-
They
it-
still would have gotten the noise and maybe lights through the trees.
Me and your dad walked almost that whole trail on our official investigation, and yeah, it goes in some, but the highway is always just right there. I think that trail actually goes around the whole outside of the park and then eventually loops back up.
It's actually a pretty cool place to hike, but it's
Yeah, I
not
really
a place to ghost hunt.
yeah, I really like the area. I hate showing up there randomly. I mean, it must have been really nice for them to go there and film there and have the police clear everybody out.
Yeah.
I mean, I would really like to go back and try to do something there just because the place has so much history. But, I mean, without having, like, some big to-do to get ready for it, and get everybody out of there,
Yeah.
it's almost just completely useless.
You might have better luck on a big holiday night, like go on Christmas night.
I'm sure it's just as bad. They're probably looking for Krampus under the bridge. Oh, and then they summoned the goat man. They used an ancient ritual to summon the goat man, a super ancient ritual that they found in a paperback.
I don't believe in portals or goatmen or spirits, so their whole show is just wacky good fun to me.
It's in like the 16th season, so, they're like, we're gonna go to the scariest place we've ever been in the entire Ghost Adventures catalog, Denton. They're like, we've been to the Winchester Mansion, we've been to,
Okay, well, let me rephrase.
Bobby Mackey's. We're going to Denton.
I'm gonna go to the scariest place I've ever been, Rio Vista, Texas. It's actually accurate for me.
Well, I mean, it's true, and I agree with it, but I haven't seen a show that's done anything on Rio Vista. It's like...
That's because that's our
It's
portal.
Denton. You're talking about... It's not like it's out in the middle of nowhere and no one's heard of it. It's Denton. Like, you go... They're like, oh, it's the old abandoned Alton Bridge from the old abandoned town, blah, blah, blah. You go 10 feet down the road, and there's a Walgreens, where we always go take a dump, a pregame dump before we go.
I put 2 cards in their their little corkboard one time, and went and took one back off to give to the chick.
Right, yes. Freaking 6 months later, I'm like, oh man, I don't have any cards on me in case we run into somebody at the bridge or whatever. Oh, hey, nobody took these.
I need to take some of our cards to Jersey Mike's. They got a fishbowl up there, and you put business cards in, and they'll do like a free catered lunch for your business. They draw.
You need to. Those business cards need to be put to good use. It might be the only good thing that comes out of those.
Amber did drop a bunch of them at the place she gets her vape juice from. And the last time I was there with her, the lady said that people have been taking a bunch of them.
Well, I get my vape juice from a place called Redneck Vapors, so I'm probably not going to leave our cards there.
This place is over off the traffic circle off Altamere.
Is it like one of the hippie head shops? That would be awesome.
No.
That's the place you want to leave them. See, my favorite thing to do is to go into half price books. I'll go into the paranormal section, and I'll
put them in all the books.
I'll slip them in all the books, because I figure if anybody gives a crap about a paranormal investigation group, might be somebody reading about the paranormal.
That's true.
Because if you're lame enough to buy one of those books, like I am, then
we need to do that at like Barnes and Noble.
No one buys books.
But think about the people that go to Barnes and Noble to get books.
Hipsters.
There you go.
I'm a hipster.
Our target
I
audience.
know.
I like things before they were cool.
I don't know. What did you think about Alton?
Thought it was a shit show. I thought it was a nice hiking path. I liked it when the guy jumped off the freaking bridge into the 3 feet deep water.
Yeah, the Ghost Adventures crew totally missed that by about a week, I would say.
Like when I sliced
American Cancer Society having this Hope Lodge for a family that has to go through something as traumatic as we are. I can't describe it.
Donate now at
I want
cancer.org.
to see the new show Ghost Brothers.
Having this Hope Lodge for a family that has to go through.
Anything about it, I don't think.
It's like it's too
the Redneck Vapor guys are very cool.
it's two very ethnic brothers that they go into the hood to investigate.
Is this like the Paranormal Wayans Bros?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff I want to quote from that show that I can't say because I am a white man. They are.
You already sound like a racist. It's too late. You can't come back now.
They're all bleepity bleep. This place is haunted. Bleepity bleep. And there's a lot of the N word. And it's a good show. It's.
How's it? Is it like on?
Yeah.
It's already started. Why aren't we recording it?
I think it's one of the channels I don't get.
Wait, it might be on View.
I don't know.
Might get it on PlayStation. I'll just check it out.
They're a more high quality show than we are. That's all I can tell you because they just run out of the building screaming every time.
Addressing viewer comments. The Redneck Vapor guys are cool.
That is true. So, you brought up Rio Vista Kyle. We keep going back. We keep talking about how we're going to release another episode of that because...
I think we should pave over it and just fucking put a parking lot there.
That place is bringing me some horrible depression. But it was good to finally go out there and nothing happened again for a change. We took a
You say nothing happened. I would disagree.
I don't know. We took a guest member out there with us because they were really curious. We're like, okay, yeah, this place is pretty cool. My expectations weren't real high because every time we take somebody new out there, because I'm sure if we ever take you out there, nothing will happen.
It's like when something goes wrong in my car and I'm like, hey, Steven, there's something wrong in my car and it's magically better. That's...
Oh, yeah. Like when my check engine light comes on my car, it magically heals itself if I drive it for a while. And then I go get it inspected. And then I never get the check engine light.
My check engine light magically heals if I disconnect the battery.
Don't drive 50 miles.
But in my opinion, I mean, we didn't get a lot of activity when we went out this very last time. Like, as opposed to the 2 times before that on our scouting. But, this last time, not a lot happened, but our guest was like, what the fuck was that? What's going on? And me and Sarah the whole time are just like, dude, shut up. That's nothing. Don't worry about that.
He wasn't like waking out or anything. He just...
No, he wasn't waking out, but he was reacting to stuff that we're just like not even paying attention to. And we're like, yeah, no, oh yeah, we hear that woman scream at the end of the road like every night. No, that's
well, that's the thought that struck me leaving that place. I was like, man, if this was our first investigation, I would have been terrified.
Well, and not just that place, but I remember like some of our first like even Antioch, which I'm pretty sure there's nothing like after 4 investigations at Antioch, there's nothing there. We've been there.
If you remember the first time, we almost booked out of there.
Well, yeah, because we kept hearing footsteps everywhere, and like I think back on it now, I'm like, oh, those were definitely footsteps, like right beside, because they were. You had to be there. It was pretty scary because we requested. Like, right at that time, they're like, show us, up here, shows, and we hear footsteps, and I'm like, I hear footsteps over there, all right, let's be calm, and then we hear footsteps over there, and then over there, and we can't see any animals or anything. Of course, we didn't have all the equipment we have now at the time,
yeah.
But we were like, all right, let's calmly walk out of here, at triple pace. It sounds like a good idea. And we went back a few times, and it always creeped us out until, like, the 4th time we went there. It was still kind of creepy, but knowing, like, okay, there's a house over here, animals coming over here, it was a lot different. And I think back to those first investigations and how we reacted to more stuff then, as opposed to how we react to stuff now, and Kyle still creeps me the F out. Like, I still don't want to go back to that particular location most of the time. Like, I get really anxious going there.
Well, when you get used to stuff, your brain tunes it out, like white noise. Like, your morning drive. You go get in the car and then you wake up where you're supposed to be and you don't know how you got there. I think that's what our brain is doing on these investigations.
Well,
we
I'm wondering
always
if
hear this.
Is it because we're getting more seasoned and we know what stuff is, so we don't, like, dwell on it anymore? Or are we actually maybe missing evidence because we've gotten jaded in it?
I think a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
I don't know. Like, it really bothers me that... Oh. Yeah, it really bothers me to think that maybe we're ignoring good evidence because we think we're smarter than the equipment or anything like that. But at the same time, I also think it's a good testament to we're way more experienced now than we were when we started, so that we don't overreact to things we don't need to be overreacting to. And so if we go to a location and we check it out and me and you specifically say, no, that place is actually really creepy, there might be something going on there, I think that actually holds more weight now than it did when we first started, because there's a lot of things that we're not even going to consider paranormal or evidence or even creepy.
Oh, I still have a knee-jerk reaction when I see Kyle, so...
I think a lot of it is, like, pre-hand knowledge about the area too. Like, if we ever get to go do the Baker. I went there, what was it, 3 months ago during the day. Like, and looking around, it's like, if I go there at night and I hear some stuff, I'm going to be like, well, there's pretty obviously been some homeless people sleeping in here, and they might still be here. So, a lot of it's like, I've been there and seen that there's stuff there that's going to cause noises and other kinds of things. Whereas if I'm going in fresh and I don't know that all that's already there,
and you haven't seen anything,
then I'm going to have a lot more of a knee-jerk reaction to everything.
Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, a lot of it has to do that, you know, a lot of our investigations take place at night and in pitch black, and you can't see more than like 4 to 5 feet in front of your face until your eyes adjust. And then, you know, we're working with the equipment, and so, like, I mean, like, especially me, if I'm looking in one of the cameras, my night vision's gone. Like, I can't depend on my night vision at all. I have to depend on their eyes for, like, spotting stuff, because I can't trust anything I see. So I'm really reactive to sounds. If I hear somebody like creeping up on me, it just goes right up my spine and freaks me out. But it's basically because those are the only senses that I can really rely on out there, because I'm busy doing something else. And with you guys, y'all can focus in on your eyes a lot, and, you know, not tune in so much on listening and things like that. I don't know. I don't think we're getting jaded. I mean, the whole conversation came up because we were kind of asking ourselves, are we getting jaded? Like, because we were kind of like cracking some jokes, like, hey man, you know, Zach was really reactive. Is he being a puss, or are we being snot, or are we just jaded? You know, and I don't think he was being a puss, especially if he's listening. But
I don't think that's as much being jaded as it is personality.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way all of us handle things on a day-to-day basis. Like, not that we're not going to have knee-jerk reactions, but that's how we, like, oh, well, they're just being a puss.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some of us especially have that kind of reaction to people.
I don't know.
why is everyone looking at me?
I don't know. I had a really good time doing that, like, little mini, you know, field test or whatever, because it was like watching myself like 2 years ago.
It wasn't his reaction that made me think that thought. It was the first time we went to Kyle and we were standing there and we heard all of the animals go off. The coyotes were baying, and we heard all the animals like in a circle around us that go off at once. A bunch of different animals.
we reacted
to. And then
to.
it happened the exact same way when we were there again, and we did not react.
Right.
Zach kind of looked around and went, what the fuck? But we just, and the literal same thing happened to us before when we were there, and it's just totally different reactions.
Right. Yeah. Well, because like the first time we went out there, we were really struggling with: is this a normal thing? Is this how animals react? Is this what they do? Blah blah blah. And then when we went out there, I mean, we've pretty much made up our minds that yeah, animals do that. You know, because we've experienced it in more than one place that happening. If you go into an open area, you hear animals react. We hadn't heard it like that up till that point, and so we really had to take a step back and analyze that experience to decide, you know, like what was causing it. Like, were we causing it by being in that environment? You know,
I'm by no means a city person, but I am definitely not a out in the woods, understand nature person.
And I'd always thought Justin was kind of an out in nature sort of deal with stuff like that. And then he climbed into the trunk of my car and to escape
the coyotes.
To escape little baby coyotes.
That was not a baby coyote. That was the goat man.
The coyote? He was in the trunk of my car.
And it makes it more funny with how large of a dude Justin is.
Yeah,
he's easily in the back of that car with the equipment.
He was too big to fit in that car in the first place, and he like crammed himself in there like a mackerel in a can. Like, I ain't afraid of no ghost, but I don't like coyotes. I'm gonna beard oil. You know, it's like all I can think of. I'm like, with a beard like that, how are you hiding in a trunk? That's.
Then we saw a giant monster walk past a gate, and I wanted to crawl into a trunk too. So.
I know, but he didn't see that stuff. Actually, I don't think it was the coyotes that made him crawl into the trunk. I think, remember he
being
thought...
alone?
Well, he thought he saw something in the static cam, which turned out to be nothing, but he swore up and down. And it was like some artifacting that was in there, but like he was like...
It looked like something in the trees, but it was... Yeah.
There's something in the tree line in camera 3.
Does seem like a very impressionable person, like...
Oh, you should have
If the
went with
littlest
us to
things
Carter.
happens, he's gonna latch onto it and.
Oh man, you should have saw him at Carter. Like, you think the Kyle story is hilarious? He's like, we ain't going back. This is the last one. I ain't doing this.
He's a fun person to have on investigations.
I tried to interview him about it too. I was for one of the Carter videos. I'm like, well, what happened here that was so scary? He's like, a rock hit my foot. I'm like, really? Yeah. No, I mean, like, really?
I run along the ground and hit my foot.
I was just sitting there and a rock hit my foot. That's the scariest thing that's happened to you? Like, you don't think my sister could have kicked that up under your foot or something? Nope. Rock hit my foot. Like, totally stone cold, too. Like, I love my brother-in-law to death, but he looked like, Tigger from the end of Roadhouse. What happened to you? Polar bear fell on me. he's just very matter of fact, and he's like, I ain't fucking with it. Nope.
Well,
No ghost gonna get my beard.
He's the smart one. We're the ones that get killed.
Yeah.
We are those people in horror movies.
The only thing worse than a smart person is a smart ginger.
But that's okay. They have no souls. We won't see them in the afterlife. Maybe that's what ghosts are.
What?
Gingers. They couldn't pass on because they had no soul. They're stuck here in this room.
That's a new theory we should put out there.
Gingers.
I'm gonna publish it in our paranormal journal. I think we got enough cases under our belt. Like, I've been wanting to write lately. I'm thinking about putting like our cases in like one of those stupid paranormal books. You know, like the Paranormal Files from NTParanormal. I want to finish Kyle first though, because I got to finish the
I don't
book
think
with
we
it.
will ever finish Kyle.
It's
Kyle
not
might
scheduled.
finish us.
We got our schedule filled up.
Remember
Which
that
I'm
time?
happy about. I'm very happy that our schedule filled up and we got a lot of jobs coming up, but I would really like to be able to put a bow on Kyle so I don't have to go back anymore.
Remember that time we got run down by a giant animal that wasn't there?
Remember that time you got ate?
We've been watching too much South Park.
Remember when you fell down and died?
Yeah, don't like Kyle.
But I don't know. I really appreciate Zach coming out and doing what he did, because he's more on the skeptical side like you are too. But it's real hard to take usually it's real hard to take somebody out like that, because they'll either just start cracking jokes or just everything you do they're like meh. But you know, he was real interested.
Yeah,
in
he
it.
wasn't too far one way or the other.
Right. He really listened and he did really good. I wouldn't mind taking him on another journey through the dark side. So I had a good time with that.
Like, I'm gonna be worried that's what I'm gonna do when I go out.
I know that's what you're gonna do.
I'm gonna try my best not to, but I am so far skeptical.
Well,
like, I don't.
You're
I say we take him to Kyle and drop him off at about midnight and pick him back up.
You know, the one thing we haven't done with a new person, we keep saying every time we take a new person out there, nothing happens. You know what we haven't done with a new person? Say, okay, you walk in there real quick, I'll be right behind you, and then just drive off and leave them there and then pick them up in about 2 hours and see if they're still alive. I'd like to do that. That counts as an experiment, right?
Yeah.
Leave me a knife. I'm down.
But you're scheduled for the Arlington Visitors Bureau.
Yeah.
One. That one's connected to the ballpark. We're pretty excited about doing that one, and so you got to be on your behavior for that, because that is a corporate event.
That's why you put me on that one.
I put you on that one because it was connected to the ballpark. I thought, I don't know, they might let us into the ballpark at some point in time.
Maybe.
Could be fun.
But baseball.
Nah, it'll be okay. Actually, the history, I looked up some of the history on that place. It seems pretty cool. I don't want to get too far into it on this episode, but he used to be a speakeasy brothel before the original building was taken down and then a new one was put up.
I thought that ballpark was like a neighborhood.
You know, I've lived here all my life, and for the life of me, I can't remember what was in that area of Arlington before.
Amber was telling me that like they tore down a neighborhood to build that ballpark, and now they just approved a new.
And they
ballpark.
only moved the headstones. You didn't move the bodies. No.
And apparently they just approved the new ballpark.
I thought that wasn't 100% approved.
They
I know that they were voting on who was going in office over there, and that had a lot to do with it. So
Also, Amber told me like 2 days ago that it got approved.
Huh?
She was mad.
Maybe they'll move the bodies this time.
Probably not.
Halves. At least half the bodies. Top halves.
Not the goat half.
How do you know the goat half's not the top half? How do you know it doesn't have man legs?
Yeah,
Or
like the
goat legs
reverse
and a man.
mermaid from Family Guy. It's like, oh no, I kind of figured you'd have like a man top half. That doesn't even make any sense. How could we even do it? He said, I'm out.
It's like the goat version of Old Greg.
I don't want to talk about that show.
I'm old Greg.
My old Greg.
Bye.
Dude, she hunts ghosts for, her hobby, but she gets weirded out by Mighty Boosh.
That show is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. I can't stand it. Steven used to watch that. It would give me nightmares.
I love Mighty Boosh, especially season 3.
God, I hate everybody who likes that show.
And our chat just blew up.
Caitlin. Caitlin's gonna have to go away for a little while. Oh, good lord.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining the show.
Oh, look, my kids are tattling on each other in chat.
Wow.
Steven, put the children to bed. I'm going to talk about them.
Do you like Baileys?
Caitlin. The child snuck on.
Wow. Okay.
Cut her Wi-Fi.
Our
My
show just
10-year-old
went off the rails.
No, my 10-year-old has evolved. She's become a human. She's online. George's Creek. Sorry, next cemetery. Ignore the child. It'll go away.
It's fine. We recently all went on a camping trip out to Lake Whitney.
Sadly, I had to go home the second morning because my son started projectile vomiting, and he did not stop until Wednesday.
And me and Mike got the joy of substituting
Wait,
Sarah on our
we got
ghost
to
hunt.
make sure that she's.
Well, I wasn't going to go into a lot of
Okay.
detail. I was just going to talk about what we did. But we did a junior ghost hunt with the kids on the camping trip out in the out on the trails out at Lake Whitney, and it was pretty fun.
I watched the video.
Yeah, Caitlin helped out a lot. We were actually reviewing some of the video today. It was
Yeah.
I
awesome.
learned that my child is a big, brave bear until you turn out all the flashlights and make her walk 10 feet ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, she speaking of jaded, yeah, her kids like to make fun of me for the noises I make, and some of the reactions we've had in some of our past videos. So it was really nice to teach a brat daughter a lesson.
My 5-year-old's still mocking you, though.
He earned it.
Feather.
But yeah.
I say they did pretty good. Like, from what I saw. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Caitlin did really good. She did EVPs and stuff. Elizabeth and Ellen both did really good too. I don't know. It was a lot of fun. I don't want to go too much into it because I still got to go through and edit the video and all that good stuff. And then, you know, of course, if your daughter would go to bed, we could talk about the rest of it. But
Yeah, we were gonna say stuff that Caitlin wants. I've gotta watch my language too.
what?
What? That was one of the conversations we were literally gonna have on this episode.
We'll get back to it. We always run long.
George's Creek was debunked. Next topic.
George's Creek is so disappointing.
I love that cemetery though. That's one of my favorite places.
You know, it sucks that it's not haunted since we basically have free reign to go in there at any time of night, any time of day.
Is this the one that you were talking to the cop?
We talked to the cop.
You didn't talk to the cop.
They
Jeremy
talked to the cop while I was in Glen Rose taking a dump, and then I had talked to the caretaker earlier that day, and basically they're just like, "Oh yeah, we'd really like it if y'all just come in every night and just run off all the drug dealers and the thieves and the people that are here." They're like, "Yeah, it's really." The cop was like, "Oh, it's a really creepy cemetery. I really hate coming to patrol out here."
And then he was like, "But there's the one."
Yeah. I mean, he gave us some good leads on some other places, which so it definitely wasn't a loss. But it's such a cool cemetery, and there's absolutely nothing paranormal there at all.
But it's really cool during the day. And I had the mystery of the fire pit that I've been trying to figure out for about 10 years now.
Yeah, that we all thought was a crematorium. Turns out it's
it
just
has
a
a
place
little-
they burn trash.
Well, I didn't know if it... I didn't think it was a crematorium because the door on it was so... Like, it was this big. Like, how are you going to fit a...
It was for tiny bodies. You know, like Phantasm. They would, like, squish them down and put them in there. But it was really interesting, like, because all the previous videos we had done there, we had tagged evidence. We didn't say, oh, and this is a really good example of, like, why we don't claim something as paranormal just because we tag evidence. We tag something, and then we say, okay, we don't have an explanation for it at this time. We'll check it out again later with some other equipment, some other ideas, stuff like that. Because just because it doesn't have an explanation right then and there doesn't mean it won't have an explanation later. Although it is cool. It's weird and you want to tag it. I mean, that's how you do it, and then you find trends. But we went back, you know, like I kept seeing lights out in the woods, and I think after the last 2 times we went out there, I think what I'm seeing is fireflies out there, kind of out of the corner of your eye.
if you go during the winter...
I don't remember. We didn't go during the winter though. We've always gone. Yeah, we haven't actually been out there during the winter. But I know definitely one thing, like the knocking that we were hearing was from the original wood structure of the what do you call that? The tabernacle area. And since they've gone in and replaced all that with metal, all that's just completely gone. Like, you don't get any of those sounds,
Our
any of that
comment
stuff.
stream's more interesting than anything else right now.
Apparently.
Oh, Caitlin, stop with the emojis, or I'm seriously gonna make you get off the computer. Kanye West isn't controlled by lizard people.
Kanye West is the king lizard person.
Yeah, but he's controlled by the Kardashians, which are worse.
That's the Illuminati.
So are the Illuminati controlled by the lizard people, or you're one of them?
A Kardashian? No. I would not be on this shit show if I was a Kardashian. But yeah, we did an episode, and then we basically went back and said, yeah, everything we caught was bull crap.
Yeah, the structure was real. Like, I've been going out there forever. That structure was ancient. Like the
Yeah, I was really surprised to go back and find out that they had actually replaced everything.
But yeah, it's a lot better now. What is going on?
We may not do the chat anymore. It seems like it's just really a hindrance at this point. Our fans are really
It's just gone off the
It's
rails.
funny. Like, okay, anyway, but yeah, George's Creek is good during the day.
I really want to do less graveyards now. I think I've had my fill of graveyards. I'm tired of the outside locations. They're so hard to investigate. There's so many challenges with them.
Well, and
Because you can't-
cemeteries are like the least. I least expect cemeteries to be haunted. Like, what the hell is gonna want to hang out there? Besides me.
I least expect them to be dimensional portals into another world, but
Turns out one is.
Turns out dead people like to hang out in cemeteries.
Well, yeah, their bodies.
lazy, just laying around. Oh.
Excluding language in the show. It's a good topic with her on the chat there.
Yeah. So, we talked a little bit about it. We started doing we did a junior ghost hunt, right?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, depending on how much of that footage is usable, because all those kids are hams, especially Caitlin. But, I don't know. I'm a little up in the air on actually cutting a video and putting it on our channel, because I just feel like we're probably going to take a good amount of flack for it, because there's a lot of people that are going to think that our content isn't kid appropriate. Now, I don't think our videos are necessarily kid appropriate because of the massive amount of F-bombs that we drop.
Well, do you want to see how many people that in my life would call me for my kids listening to this right here? How many phone calls I would get by the end of the night if people knew what my kids had just listened to.
Yeah. But, barring the language, I don't really think our content's inappropriate for
And I cuss
a
way
younger
more than
audience.
this in actual parenting, so.
Well, I mean, that's your particular house. Like, ultimately, it's up to the parent or whatever. But, I mean...
Exactly.
But, I mean...
That's what the thing is. If you
barring the language in our episodes, like, say we didn't have potty mouths, would you let your kids watch it, really?
I think it depends on the kid, honestly.
Caitlin is. She can watch a horror movie and she's not going to be up all night in my bed freaking out. Even when she was 5. Ash watches a horror movie. He's going to be bugged out for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's not the age difference, it's a kid difference.
I mean, I feel the same way, too. I mean, I used to watch R-rated movies with my dad when I was a kid, and it wasn't a big deal. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm real into being a good parent, and monitoring what your kids are watching. But I just, man, I don't know. I'm really torn about it because it's like there's nothing really scary on our
I'm going to be a real hipster
videos.
parent here, or hipster, or I don't know, what are we calling it now? And I'm going to say that I think monitoring your kids too much is detrimental.
Well, I think so too. Okay, but but I think what we're going to catch more flack over is not necessarily the content, but the fact that we let kids ghost hunt. Like, you know what? Like the other paranormal investigators that we were with on the panel, they would say that's really irresponsible.
Why?
And a part of me agrees with that if you actually believe in paranormal stuff.
But I don't, so... Like, what, my kid's gonna get possessed? That's not gonna happen.
I don't know. You're like exposing him to scarier situations and things like that, but... I don't know if Caitlin's still on. What's your opinion on it? Do you think you're old enough?
Steven pull her off the computer if he followed instructions.
I don't think he did. He usually doesn't. I'm gonna out him right now. And he knows crap about Doctor Who. I was talking to him earlier, and
I love you, Steven. I love you too, Caitlin. But anyway, I think that I'm going to get on my stick here. A lot of parents these days are way too overprotective, and then their kids need helmets until they're 28. That's...
Oh, I definitely think that we're over-sheltering our kids now, because... Got back on.
The 10-year-old has become sentient.
I don't know. I'm really excited about our upcoming investigations and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like our content has changed since we've started. Like, we've gone from kind of putting our toes in the water and, you know, kind of figuring things out as we've gone to going in knowing more.
Doing more on the research angle than we did before.
Right. I mean, we have more structure now. We have more of an idea what we're already getting. I mean, before we even go in there, we already know a few things that we can just rule out, like, right off the bat. Like, especially on residentials. Like, every single residential where they call us and they're like, this and this and this and this and this is going on. There's already a list of questions we already know to ask, and we're pretty sure, yeah, it's this. There's different things it can be now.
Yeah.
That's not saying that not anything paranormal is ever going on in somebody's house, but we go in with a different attitude now, and I feel more at ease when we do an investigation than I did before, and that kind of saddens me a little bit because I really used to like the.
You don't get the adrenaline high.
Yeah, I really used to get an adrenaline rush of not knowing, but now when I go in, I'm like,
Maybe that's why I like going back to Kyle, while I don't like going back to Kyle, because it still gives me that, you know, something is actually gonna happen. I don't know.
I think a lot of that has to do with, like, the more investigations we do, the more times that we debunk things. It's like we're
spoiling our own Christmas.
It's like we're like, oh, well, I mean, we've ruled out everything we've come across so far, so when you're out there and something happens, your first thought is going to be, well, it was this last time, so it's probably the same thing. Like, you don't have that suspense of
we're wrapping our own Christmas presents.
I mean, ultimately, I would rather be more accurate in our investigation. I would rather know that paranormal stuff isn't happening.
Yeah, it's definitely becoming less of an adrenaline rush. In a lot of places now, it's just a boredom rush. I'm going to ignore Steven's comment.
Yeah, he's talking about Tom Baker. I mean, it's not becoming less of an adrenaline rush. It's just I'm having to find the adrenaline in other parts of it. Like, I don't get scared. I mean, I don't get scared anymore. Like, I'm never, like, on edge. I don't ever feel like, oh, I don't know what's around the corner. But I get an adrenaline rush out of figuring it out, you know. And we still catch stuff that makes me question. Like, I definitely wouldn't say that on every investigation we've ruled out every single thing we've ever found. That's
Allie,
not true at all.
we were talking about that earlier in the show and our reaction versus Zach's, because it's when we were leaving that I commented that we heard all those animals go off and he reacted to it. But if you remember when we were at Kyle the first time, all the animals went off and did the same thing, and we reacted the exact same way he did.
Well, not the exact same way. Justin climbed into the back of the car.
Okay, well, Zach might have been a little more chill than some of our party members, but he reacted this way, and we all were just like, man, that's the pack of coyotes.
I like how she referred to our investigation group as party members if it's a D&D troop. Just running around.
Does that make Justin the bard?
He rolled a 1, if so.
Hey, bards, maybe you're just not using bards right. Maybe you suck.
Hey, I'm a big advocate for bards. I love bards, I love rogues, and I also like rangers if David happens to be listening.
Everyone rags on druids, though.
Yeah, I love my druid.
You would.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have a DM that lets me make Sharknadoes.
No.
I'll let Steven be a
The sharks would
building
you can do
time.
Sharknado, but the sharks would suffocate, so you're just slapping people with big dead fish.
Yeah, but they're like 1,000-pound dead fish.
It's fine, but it's just
This has devolved.
It's tuna rain.
We are not a D&D party. We are those people in horror movies that go towards the scary noise. That is what we are.
That's what D&D parties do.
No, D&D parties go to
The
a
only
town.
thing our group doesn't do is check for traps. We don't have a
They
rope.
go to a bar.
At least
They
not a
all-
competent one.
They all meet in a tavern. Someone needs a goblin killed, and it goes from there.
God, what low-level campaigns are you running that it takes 4 people to kill a goblin?
No, there's like a goblin king, and then like 1,000 goblins, and you have to kill them all.
That's Labyrinth.
Why would you bring up killing the Goblin King this year?
I've never.
You're terrible.
What are you talking about?
David Bowie died. He is the Goblin King.
What are you talking about?
Labyrinth.
Oh, I've only seen that like once and it sucks, so I didn't watch it again.
I can't.
I
I can't even anymore.
You know what else sucks? Star Wars. The Beatles. Bacon. Coffee. All these things suck. Doctor Who
I
sucks.
kind of agree with the Beatles, but other than that,
The Rangers suck.
I hate everything. That is everything right now.
We could be a LARPing party.
Well, I'm just gonna
I'd be
sell.
down for some LARP.
I'm just gonna sell all the equipment, trade it all in for some foam swords, and that's what we do now.
That would be fun.
We just go out and LARP.
Oh, we went,
Eddie and I have like gone to Walmart and got some foam swords and gone out and just wailed on each other for
we
hours.
used to get the.
That's hack and slash. We're talking
Well,
about LARPing.
We used to get the. I forget what the tubing's called, and wrap it in fun noodles, and then just beat the shit out of it.
PVC pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
always
we
fun.
used to do that. We went to Cameron Park in Waco one time. I mentioned that to you because it has the Lover's Leap that like has the story of the people that jumped off the cliff. But we were in Cameron Park driving around and we came across a big group of LARPers. And I'm a D&D nerd, but it was really hard not to stop and mock them. It was really hard. I wanted to give someone a wedgie.
I used to rage against LARPers so much because I'm just a hardcore pen and paper role player, and I always wanted to beat up LARPers. I'm like, what are you doing? Go sit around a table, roll some dice.
So you treated them like real people treat us?
Yeah.
Yeah. LARPers are the nerds of the nerd world.
They're the worst.
Who's the really pretty girl that is on Supernatural that did the LARPing thing? She was also in
Felicia
the Guild.
Day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Charlie? Is that her name in Supernatural?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
She was like one of the best characters they had on that
have
show.
you gotten that far yet?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
anyways.
know what happens with
Well,
Charlie.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. Shush. Shut up, I haven't gone that far.
Maybe you should catch up. You're like 18 seasons behind.
Well, they need to stop me. I sat through 9 seasons and or 8, 7, I don't know, but I couldn't do it
Is it
anymore.
bad that most of my training as a paranormal investigator comes from the show Supernatural?
I just carry a thing of
Ghost
salt
facers.
around. With Ghostface? Steven was running that clip the other day.
I think that is the most interesting solution to hunting ghosts is like, oh, we'll just load up a shotgun with some rock salt. Yeah, that should work.
I've been shot with rock salt out of a paintball gun, and it hurts like a.
Right, so whether
Did you
you
know
run
if
into a hobo or a ghost, you should be good.
Did you know if you load cornflakes into one of those Daisy air
It's
rifles,
delicious.
it will stab you and cut your skin? Because I do.
I was reading a story the other day about a ghost hunting group. They called themselves, what was it, Ghost Hunters Incorporated, I think, or something. It was pretty cool. But they said, yeah, the scariest ghost hunt we ever went on is when we accidentally hunted a meth lab.
Well, we were at Carter at one of the early investigations when I had the back surgery and we had the gunshot.
Oh, man,
God.
this article I was reading was really good, the way he wrote it. But he was like, yeah. So he gave a little history on it. He's like, there was this, when we were in high school when we first started this, there was this house that we used to call the murder house, which I think basically what we did, there was the house we were calling the murder house. It was an old abandoned house in the middle of nowhere, and they had found it, and then they'd made plans to go in there and basically trespass and go hunt the abandoned house or whatever. So they all go in there. And he's like, yeah, and we started out each investigation, the way we do, where we'd be like, hey, look at this. Hey, check this out. This is cool. Which, professionals, we call that a walkthrough now. And so they're going on, they hear some bumping upstairs, and so they're like, oh, and they get the equipment, and they're going up the stairs, and it gets louder. They hear, like, pots and pans, like, clamoring and stuff. And they're like, oh, my God, there's something there. So they get, like, curtain rods and a shovel, because they're like, there's something up here. And they fling open the door, and there's like nobody there, but they see like all this lab equipment around, and they're high school kids, and they don't know what a meth lab looks like. And so they're like, is there like a crazy scientist that lives here? And the dude in the back is doing the thing, shh, 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 I hear something. And he's like, do you hear whispering? They're like, it's coming from the walls, and they get freaked out, and they leave because the walls are whispering. And like a few days later, they opened up the paper and the house had burned down because the meth lab had exploded, and a couple of people that were hiding in the walls from what they thought was a drug raid were stuck in the walls and burned to death. And then they're like, "Oh, we didn't even know our hometown had a drug problem."
Where did we drive out that one night where we went over the gate and there was like this circle of trailers and there's just tarps
Oh
everywhere?
my god! Here's a fun game. Google cemeteries near me.
Do maps.
Just
it
do
on the
Google
and
Maps,
type in
cemeteries near me.
cemetery.
Drive to the nearest one. It's almost never a public cemetery.
It is on some junkie's property. Or 8 trailers in a circle.
Well, we drive in the middle of BFE, and I'm like, where the fuck is this cemetery we're trying to find?
Well, see, Allie knows this game well because we've wound up on private property a couple of times.
We drove around, it's private property, and some lady comes in, "Hey, what the hell are y'all doing out here?" It's middle of the night. We're looking for a cemetery. Yeah, there's one out here, but it's private.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, like, we just bury certain people there. Bye. I wasn't gonna ask.
But then as we're driving away, I noticed that there's like this circle of trailers and like all the windows are busted out. There's just tarps over them.
Yeah, that was definitely a meth facility.
That's the best game. It's the most dangerous game.
No.
No.
What is the most dangerous game?
Monopoly. With me.
I thought it was Risk.
Nope, Monopoly.
Kamikaze.
You haven't played Monopoly with me. No one will play with me anymore.
I have played Monopoly with him one time, and I refuse to ever play Monopoly with
No
him
one will
again.
ever play Monopoly with me.
I
more
was
than one
winning
time.
until like the last 4 seconds of the game.
Then I mortgaged him to
Okay.
death. I never lost Monopoly. Not in my adult life.
It's because you cheat.
How do I cheat? I understand finance. And like the rent on that property is only $35. If you can't manage a $35 rent, look, I'm just saying, with interest alone, you need to be more responsible with your money when you're playing Monopoly.
I'll stab you.
I don't care. I hate Monopoly. Risk is a good game.
I'm good
I
at.
do like Risk.
I like Risk.
I'm pretty efficient at Risk.
Want to play a 37-hour game of Axis and Allies?
Speaking of games, we should try filming a paranormal game sometime. Like Bloody Mary or the Charlie Pencil game and stuff like that.
I'll do all those, but I'm not doing Candyman.
In that Bloody Mary? Candyman is fictional.
It's scarier than Bloody Mary.
Why?
Fine, you go walk into the bathroom at George's Creek then.
No. Like, I know George's Creek and haunted. I'm still not positive that there's not a psychopath living in that bathroom.
It's from the Candyman movie, dude. That is the scene that...
You know, of all the, I can't think of anything that ever wigged me out that bad other than that scene from Candyman where they just go in that, like, wrecked bathroom.
And nothing even happens.
Nothing happens, but there's something about that scene killing. I remember one time, my
Because
dad...
we both walked out there and had the same response to that
just
bathroom.
nope, that's a
Candyman.
Candyman bathroom. Because they don't... Have you seen Candyman? You don't watch a whole lot of
I don't
horror
watch horror movies at all.
so basically, it apes on the Bloody Mary thing. You say Bloody Mary in the mirror, but it's a big black guy with a hook for a hand. All right, so it's ultimately a lot more scarier than some.
I think I saw a special on that.
And he was like tortured. Who did that? It was
a really good backstory. He was like a slave.
Wes Craven.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Yeah,
It was Wes
slave. He
Craven.
fell in love with like the daughter of the plantation owner.
And they covered him. They stripped him naked, covered him in honey.
They chop off his hand.
They
Cover
chop
him
off
in
his
honey.
hand, put a hook in there. Why? If they were just gonna kill him, why'd they give him a hook?
And why would you cover him in honey to have bees sting him?
Yeah, you'd think the bees would just eat the honey. Okay, so it's a really weak plot. But Candyman, he comes out of the mirror or whatever, and he comes and he kills you. But then... how many times... Exactly how many times are you comfortable with the saying Candyman?
Under 4. Well, under 5.
I thought it was 3.
I thought it was 5.
Candyman.
I thought Bloody Mary was a 3 times. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Who effing knows? But there's a wrecked public bathroom in there. Talk about the murder that happened in that bathroom, but they never show anything in there. Something about that bathroom used to wig me out as a kid when
me
my
too.
my parents rented it from Blockbuster. They're like, "Don't watch this," and I'm like, "But I'm gonna watch it," and I'm like peeking over the couch, and I'm like, "I hate public bathrooms now." And I remember on the months leading, or not leading, immediately
Well, it
following.
wasn't just a public bathroom. It was separate from everything else, like a standalone bathroom.
Right, yeah. Like, well, that's what started my fear of porta potties. Or like
And George's Creek just has like it's almost like an outhouse that's permanent.
Like when you go to like one of the travel stops or whatever, like on the interstate or whatever, it's that kind of
like a
bathroom.
toilet seat over a hole in the ground.
Or like when we were out at Lake Whitney, how there's just like a bathroom facility or whatever. Okay, I hated those when I was a kid because of Candyman. And I remember just crapping myself on some outing because my mom's like, go to the bathroom. I'm like, fuck no, Mom. She's like, you're 8. You can't say that. And I'm like, no, I can't. But I'm just going to crap myself because Candyman.
We were at those bathrooms at Whitney, and I was waiting for the kids to use the bathroom so I could, and then they wanted to leave me in the bathroom and go stand outside, and I was like, no. Y'all are staying in here. Candyman gonna get you first.
I forgot the one time we went down there and we took all the kids and we went in the bathroom. We opened the door to leave, and Caitlin, Elizabeth, and Eleanor just standing right there.
Oh yeah, I swear to God, they didn't go to the bathroom one time that we took them there.
They couldn't have.
I can't even go to the bathroom that quick.
Oh, Caitlin can go to the bathroom in like under 3 seconds.
But it made no sense. They were going in there and they were like slamming the doors for 2 seconds and they'd run back out, and then we'd go hiking and they're like, I gotta pee, and I'm like, sucks to be you. Bee stinging my taint would be scary as hell.
Well, I had I won't use the showers at the Lake Whitney State Park because that one time I went camping there before when I was 16, I was showering and
Oh, you role-played Candyman.
I found a wasp. It was not a bee. It was a wasp. And I was taking a shower and one little wasp landed on my shoulder. So I was like, oh, it's just a wasp. I'll get rid of it. I'm not scared of them. And then I look up to see the giant freaking wasp nest that's above my head.
I showered while I was out there, but mainly because, man, a lot of my stories have to do with me crapping myself out in the wilderness.
Oh, yeah. I was there for that.
Were you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Oh.
Yeah,
Your sad craw back to the tent.
Courtney just, she posted a picture of the speed
sign.
limit sign.
Memories.
It's like, I didn't know he had any bears in these woods.
No, it sucks. It was like 2 a.m, 3 a.m, something like that. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom in like 10 minutes. I'm just going to put my shoes on, calmly walk down there. No problem. It wasn't an emergency. Got about a quarter of the way there, and I was like, DEFCON 1. I was like, I need to double time it. And so I started double timing. I'm like, that is doing the opposite of what needs to happen. Damn you, camping food.
Well, maybe you had a touch of what the kids did because, oh God, that was a bad day after I went home.
Because I started praying for God while leaning against a speed limit sign. I
tried to have you take my keys for the night because I knew I wasn't going to get up and go.
I thought I was good, man. Like I said, when I left, it wasn't an emergency. But the saddest thing about that whole experience is I'm sitting there with my pants around my ankles, crying, praying for God, crapping on a speed limit sign, and I can see the bathroom the whole time I'm doing it, and I'm just like, I can't make it there. I can't. I'm just going to have to sit here until this is over and hope I don't get it all over myself. I calmly just walked to the bathroom, and I was like,
well, I didn't know
fuck
what
it.
had happened.
I took a shower. That's what happened.
I didn't know what had happened. I crawled out of the tent, and there was like someone's clothes sitting there. I was like, what? Did someone get raptured in front of the tent and leave their clothes behind? No. Those were your clothes.
And see, that's what I'm always afraid is going to happen on one of these cemetery ghost hunts.
We're going to get raptured away.
No.
A lot of these places they either don't have a bathroom or they have a horrifying bathroom. I'm not going to the one at George's
Or
Creek.
not
I'll
one at
poop
all.
myself.
If I ever
rather
have to
shit in the woods.
crap at Kyle, it's just off. Everything is off. Because I'm not dumping in the middle of a We talk about people like disrespecting the graves and stuff. Can you imagine if I'm just in the corner? Hey guys, just look away. Oh Lord, smells like something died. Oh, besides all you guys, y'all are cool. You know, it's just.
Well, then you walk out of the cemetery to do it. Just like a few feet away.
I know, because there's nothing to protect me out there from the goat man.
It's in the cemetery, dude.
You think that would keep it away?
Maybe.
If I like just mark my territory.
Just figured you were going the prison angle.
I don't know, but I can't even pee at Kyle because I am not a bearer of a penis and cannot stand to pee.
If you're a new listener to our show, it's a paranormal show about paranormal topics.
Like poop.
Look, let's be adults here. Just for a minute.
Good luck.
Sometimes you gotta crap in a cemetery. Look, see, Allie almost crapped herself outside of Antioch. Oh, yeah, because when we were out there, she was sitting in the car with Steven. And that was the time we were talking about where we, like, hightailed it out of there. And it was good timing, too, because Allie was, like, at the window, like... And it was getting pretty bad because, like, one of the rumors out there is, like, you hear rocks hit the car if you're parked across the street or whatever. Yeah. And we debunked it because what it is there's trees overhead and, like, the acorns hit the car. But apparently that happened, like, 2 or 3 times while she was waiting because she wasn't getting out of the car that time. She's like, F you guys. And apparently she had to crap the whole time. I can just only imagine with each rock hit, it just...
I always take a bunch of Imodium before we go on a ghost hunt. I'm just like, nope.
Yeah, I just stopped that whole process.
Just shut it down.
I plug that up before we go. I'm like, look, this is the most important thing because you got phantom smells you might have to debunk. You might end up crapping on some dead body somewhere.
Because what we've learned is there's a dead body buried everywhere.
Yeah,
you sitting, there was probably a dead body there at some point. Probably still part of one down there.
I've pooped on it.
It was awful.
This entire planet's been covered in poop.
I saw the emojis.
No, we
and
really
thought it
are
was
a
Caitlin
paranormal
back
show.
on the
I don't.
computer.
I feel bad for like a new person. Like I've messaged on Facebook.
It's relative. Having to poo on a speed limit sign is going to haunt you for the rest of your life.
But I can just see it now. Like, you know, somebody I've texted, hey, you should check out the show if you know, blah blah blah.
Tune on. I pooped on a speed limit sign.
They're like,
well,
while I was out at Whitney, I had my pants around my ankles and I was crying for Jesus, crapping while staring at a bathroom. They're like,
I think I'm in the wrong place.
So ghosts. I don't know.
If I really thought Caitlin was off the computer, I'd say something, but I'm not gonna.
Well, you know, we'll save it until after the event, and then we can talk about it in our next podcast.
Maybe I can film it.
It's gonna be awesome.
Is there anything else that we had? Viewer questions, Allie? Do you have any viewer questions?
What I think's really cool is like I've noticed not only like now that we did the expo and we did the paranormal panel and like almost immediately we started getting phone calls for like more investigations like commercial areas. The Arlington thing came up. The Saturday after Thanksgiving we have a residential coming up that me and Sarah are doing. I think Allie's going to. She wanted a really small group for that one because it's a pretty personal one. But we're pretty excited to do that. She was supposed to be a guest on this episode, but she went on vacation, and I saw it as she was still willing to call in. She was going to call in over the phone, but I kind of saw it as a hassle the way we were talking about doing it, and so I suggested, well, let's just move you out to December till after the investigation, then you'll have more to talk about anyway. And she's actually
I've talked to her on the phone. She's really nice.
She's really cool. She's actually really excited to like work with our group as like a guest investigator. She actually knows a few people besides herself that actually want.
Yeah, you missed it, Allie. Sorry.
I could rant on it at least another hour.
Let's not.
That show pissed me off so much.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm back on it. You know, it just...
Send help.
Allie, I just want to thank you. This is the 17th time I've gotten to hear this rant.
You know,
live.
Allie hasn't seen the episode yet. And you haven't watched the full thing. I got Sarah to watch it. I got her kid to watch it.
I've never watched a single episode of that show.
You gotta watch this goddamn episode because we've been there. And, they pan the camera around. I'm like, I know where that's at. And they're like, we're deep in Denton, where people have walked around and never come out. You could say that about the grocery store. Oh my god! And then she's out there arguing with a bush. She's like, "Get your ass out here and black. And then she gets slapped in the face.
Hey, remember that time that armadillo attacked you there though? That was wicked. Maybe it was the armadillo.
No, it hit her in the face, and she's like, "It's a demon. It's a goat demon, and I can't take pictures no more." And
It broke her.
oh my god, effing episode. And then they're all bro hugging it out under the bridge. They're like, dude, stay in the circle, or the goat man's gonna get you. And I hate that freaking place. And I'm really happy our episode came out before their version of the episode came out, so I can at least say, we did our due diligence there. But I want to go back and debunk everything they found, because
Fine. Alton.
it's such a long
I'd
trip.
rather go back
and
to Carter.
there's no guarantee that there's not people fucking there. And
There's pretty much a guarantee there is. On the bridge, under the bridge, in their cars, on the trails, in the woods, they're fucking
I just
everywhere.
don't know why he would be half goat, half man. There's no reason for it. No reason.
Oh, he's like a centaur, but a goat. I got it. I figured it out.
He's a goat tard.
No, you think of a goat man, but it only has 2 legs. But what if a goat man has 4 legs? What if it's a centaur?
That's not what Becky saw.
Behind every cloud.
Shh, no. We can't. All right, look, we already took enough flack for slamming one rival group that actually deserved it.
Well, okay, one person deserved it. The other members of that team
Not the group.
very pleasant.
Yeah. He went under. He tried to...
Ben did?
Huh?
Ben?
Yeah, Ben. Yeah.
I say because I'm still friends with him. The other one we had on.
Eric...
I don't think we're supposed to say his name, but yeah.
Don't say his last name.
I don't. Oh, I do know his last name. No, I don't say it. But no, the rest of the group was pretty pleasant. It was just the one.
Yeah, he filed against us on YouTube for slander, and they laughed at him. They're like, yeah, it's YouTube. They can do that.
I know he messaged me. I'm gonna sue y'all. I was like, okay.
Allie, that's how the whole old Greg thing started. It's like the goat version of old Greg.
I don't know, but that Alton episode, I liked it because it was familiar. It was nice to see another group go in there. I liked their presentation better than ours. I mean, they have a budget. They have producers.
I don't like the sunglasses. Whoever picks out his sunglasses.
What was he wearing on his head? I remember it got to that part of the episode. You're like, Brad, how come you don't wear that? And I'm like, because it's fucking stupid. That's why. Yeah, I don't know if it was a light or a GoPro, but he just had it strapped to his head. And he's
No,
wearing
that's what I want you to strap to my. I need a GoPro strapped to my forehead.
I don't care how good of evidence that it actually captures. It looks stupid.
No, here's the theory. Whenever you freak out, if you hear a noise running to you, you're gonna look at it, but your hands are doing what the fuck ever. I'm not pointing at a camera. I'm ready my ass to run away.
What if I get the
looking.
glasses that have the spy camera in it? We can do those. We can just all wear super glasses.
You're still gonna look like a douche.
I don't know. I'm gonna look like a douche when I finally get a power glove and convert that into like a all around EMF detector. What I want to do is I want to get something that that has a force feedback into it, so that when you do get an EMF reading on it, it'll you can feel it, and so it intensifies the higher the EMF reading is. so that you can actually feel the magnetic waves.
There's some guys.
But it's got to be with a Nintendo Power Glove.
Well, there's some guys out in California that are actually doing surgical procedures off grid to put magnets in people's fingers.
Oh yeah. I've seen the body modifications and stuff like that.
And they've been putting them behind people's ears now to see if they can get some directional sense on where they are. I thought that was really interesting that they're letting them just
Feel better.
shot
Hope they don't
holes
have
in
an
them.
MRI anytime soon.
Well,
yeah. I mean,
well, they're just they're surface implants. I mean, they're letting them cut them open with no lidocaine or anything and can stitch them back up. So I doubt an MRI.
Yeah, there's a lot of websites dedicated. People cut like their own finger open and input the rare earth magnet in there. But you gotta make sure it's like it's gotta be like surgical grade so that you don't get like an infection.
Well,
or whatever.
that's a good idea, but it doesn't have to be. You might just get lucky.
I don't know. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna get a Nintendo Power Glove and do it. Not bad. Only thing I don't like is they don't have a left hand or right hand one. So
See, I would want a glove that has the high powered magnets in it, so I can just push it away from me.
they're also starting to use EMF fields to treat depression, and magnetic fields. They'll basically it's like an electromagnet hoop that they like run over your head and they like demagnetize your brain or something.
My doctor's got some new thing for me for pain control. It's like a giant, like, I don't know what it is. It's in some sort of magnet or electric.
I was kind of wondering how they're using EMF to treat depression when EMF is shown to actually cause depression.
Well, think of the spinal cord stimulator I had. So basically, they put it on a nerve, and it sends a signal at the same time as a pain signal. It blocks it out.
Right. I don't know.
It would just cancel it out.
Yeah. Or maybe like Ritalin on a hyperactive kid, you know.
Does the opposite.
Right, yeah. A normal person, it would...
Hype up.
It's speed, but to somebody that's on 11, it's like...
To Caitlin, it puts her to sleep.
Yeah.
Anyone else, that would wire.
I don't know. Well, I'm really excited about the ones we got coming up. We got one show coming up Saturday after Thanksgiving. We're going to be live streaming that one. And that one should be interesting because we get to actually experiment with a possible ley line, which we've been talking about for a while. Because most of the stuff she sent us a bunch of videos, and I'm actually going to put a compilation together for it. But she gets a lot of like really legit EMF spikes, and like a few of the first videos she was sending to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I told her some alternate ways to ask questions and test the results too, because there was some doubt in there, but she went back and kind of did it the way we said to do it, and she's still getting results, which is really cool. But the results are mostly heavy in her backyard area, which makes me think, and it's not a steady high EMF field either, like it's intermittent. So it makes me think that, you know, people talk about ley lines, there might actually be some kind of scientific thing that we can measure back there.
I thought ley lines are pretty theoretical.
Well, I say ley line as in, you know, in relationship to, you know, we're looking for paranormal stuff. But I mean, there's high magnetic fields and geological anomalies like all over the world. Like we might actually be tracking that down, and then once you find that stuff, those are typically the places people say that ley lines are there, and then we can test paranormal stuff in relationship to that. But what's going to be interesting is if we go back there and we don't find any like straight up magnetic anomalies back there, but she's still getting magnetic interference and stuff back there, and that actually lends more credence to what she's actually like testing and looking for. So I'm really looking forward to that, and then talking with her on the show after that. The very next one we have scheduled after that is going to be the Arlington one, and that one's pretty cool because I'm hoping that one leads to more commercial stuff, specifically in Arlington, because they're actually wanting to do it as like a, not us find evidence for promotional things, but they want a promotional sort of video to go in there. Like we don't have to find something and pretend there's something there, but you know they want to promote is like there's rumors about this place being haunted. We've had people come in and investigate.
Or since it's connected to the ballpark, they're hoping we can figure out the curse that causes the Rangers to drop fly balls in the World Series.
I hate you really hard right now. Anyway, it might lead to more things in Arlington, more commercial ones, which I think they're wanting to put in their travel guide, which would be really cool. And then we have another residential already scheduled after that, and then hopefully after that third one, we'll do Kyle. So I'm hoping sometime in January we'll actually be able to put a full-length video out there for Kyle, because we've talked about it so much. I actually get questions about it like all the time, like in the email, or like, hey, y'all keep talking about this place, but you only have the one video out that really doesn't show
I also
anything.
don't tell people where it is, and it's impossible to find. The only reason we were able to find it is because I already knew it was there.
Yeah, I was looking at the USGS maps for it yesterday, and the topographical stuff, and it's in this like real weird location. There's only one access to it, and it's on this like this back. It's not even a road. Like, it's not a named road. It's just this like dirt road that leads up to it, and it's by some stuff, but there's no access to it from.
And the only reason I knew about it is because when I was 16, I was friends with somebody who knew about it.
Right.
I would never have driven.
And they
down
said
that
they had
road.
experience.
They said it was
it's real
haunted.
funny.
But they were also, they thought every house they had ever lived in was haunted, and they thought my house was haunted. They thought the school was
I'm just
haunted.
so enamored with that location, because we went there going, there's nothing here. We're just going to come out here and we're going to film nothing. We're going to do nothing. And we had experiences out there. And then we looked up the history on it, and the history lined up on it pretty good. And then everyone we ever talked to that knew about that, like I talked to the guy that mows the yard there. He's like, yeah, don't go near that back fence. You talk to a brother-in-law, just randomly, like didn't even say we were like really out there doing anything. It's just like, hey, yeah, there's this place that, you know, it's.
Well, I was asking him about it. I said, hey, you and your friends didn't you used to probably out of that cemetery? I was like, yeah, I was out there, and he was like, oh, what happened? And I told him I saw something. He was like, the first question was, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like a real weird thing to pop it, you know, because it's like the big deal is like.
And the
thing
other
we saw has, like,
descriptor of the color.
Yeah, so everything lines up. Like, everybody we talk to is just like, yeah, that place is freaky, you know. So I'm real excited to actually wrap that place up.
I think we should take a flamethrower out there and mow it down.
I want to put a sign on it or something that says like enter at your own risk at the very least. I don't know. And you know, I've noticed every time we go out there, and I'm always like depressed, like the day after. Like I feel really different after going out.
Did
there.
Allie tell her dream on this?
No. It's probably, we should probably wait on
Okay,
that
I say I'd like her to tell her that when she comes back. Mark her that.
Yeah, we can talk about it on either the next show or the show after that, which
But
will probably be closer to our actual episode out there. But like,
But that's something else I get from Kyle. Like the last time we went, when I
see,
just
that
couldn't
place hasn't
sleep.
actually given me any nightmares, but you and Allie have both had some weird dreams, and I think Kristen said she had a weird dream too.
It wasn't the nightmares. It's almost like I'm having reoccurrences of sleep paralysis. I'm not asleep when I'm having these.
I don't know. I still wonder if there's not some kind of magnetic anomaly out there that we're not
That's
able to
just-
track or whatever, and it like triggers my depression, it triggers everybody's anxiety, stuff like that. I mean, there could be like some kind of natural thing that happens there that just kind of
Yeah.
winds everybody up. But
See, now I just want to go.
nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Nothing will happen. You got to go like at least 3 times before anything happens, and it's so far out there.
It's 13 miles. It's not even 13 miles from my house.
Yeah, but from here,
I know, it just creeps me out that I'm only 13 miles from. Less if you go in a straight line.
you might want to put some rock salt in your shotgun.
Paint some wards on your door.
They did do a lot of fracking.
Yeah, Ellie mentioned they did a lot of fracking out there, which causes the the gases.
But they haven't done fracking out there in, it was 4 or 5 years at least since that's been an open field. I don't think there'd be any way for that to still be. Fracking's not going to give off infrasound after the fracking's done. And whatever gases are friggin' escaping.
Oh no, I'm really interested to use my new infrasound program that I wrote, because that'll be a real cool one. Be able to actually control the levels of infrasound in an area to see if it affects stuff. There's a lot of tests I want to run that aren't necessarily paranormal investigations. Like I said, like I would really like to like film like some of the like paranormal games, stuff like that,
yeah.
or maybe it goes against everything. But
A Ouija board?
Jacking around with a Ouija board. Because when I was a kid, I was afraid of them. Now I'm like, it's stupid. At the same time,
I've never seen one outside of like a box in a store.
Me and Allie, and I think was it Allie? It might have been pre-Allie. Took one to my mom's house, like an out of the box, kids Ouija board.
There was that one lady. Actually, that might be whose house we're investigating. I'm not sure where I met that lady. It might have been at the Carrollton thing, but there was the.
That was at the panel where she was talking about the girl whose fingers went cold when she used it.
Right, and they took their hands off of it, and she said the planchette moved on its own.
I don't even half believe that. Not even a quarter.
But what it caught. That would be like one of the one times I'd be like, hey, yeah, like that would be cool. Like, that's awesome. Nobody touching it and it moves. That's cool. The chances of that happening are like zero. But I really like what I really liked about that Carrollton thing is that the lady that was running that really did her research on it, because like she had her thing on the Ouija board, and I thought I knew like the full history. I thought it was a lot older than what it was and all that. It isn't. It turns out that is just made by a game board company. Like, I thought its roots were, like, way older. Like, the spirit board and all that. No, like, what was it, like 1830s or whatever? It was actually made by the game company, and they came up with the name Ouija. Oh, God, I'd have to look it up. It was really good, and I was like, holy crap, that is stupid.
Allie brought up that me and her... we imbibed, and then we made a shot glass. Basically, you cut out like letters off a piece of paper and like put a shot glass over it, and same. Why does it have to be a Ouija board? Why can't you just write letters on paper?
Honestly, I would think it would be more interpersonal and have more energy to do it. I mean, I don't know. It's like they've been debunked so many times, and then like it really just put the nail in the coffin when I read the actual history that we like the totally fact check version of it, and I'm like, oh, it really is just a board game.
Like I have trouble believing in the paranormal history of anything that's sold in the toy department at Walmart.
Well, I mean, I always got that. Like I said, it had to do with I didn't give a crap enough to ever look into it. But, you know, she had everything laying. I was like, oh, okay. But I don't know. I was always against it being sold in the toy department. Like, I'm talking about me 10, 15 years ago. I was like, oh, no, I'd stay away from that. That's just inviting trouble. And I was always like, I'm like, I can't believe they sell that in the toy department. And now, post... ghost investigator.
But the idea
Ashton
could be
is like, who cares?
Well, but the idea could be that it would put your kid in a frame of mind to be vulnerable to things like that. Not because it's a toy, but because of the thoughts it makes them have. Look, I've talked to a lot of parents. A lot of them are nutbags.
I fully agree. I mean, I don't know. I guess my opinion's really nil on it. Ouija boards are stupid, but I think we should test one out on camera. I'd like to put a psychic to the test. I'd really like to use my infrasound thing and to see if I can make somebody wig out. I'd really like to bombard somebody with some EMF, radiate Mike's nuts.
Whoa!
There's just a ton of there's a ton of things I want to like do, and we haven't had a chance to like really do the experiments yet. I'd like to do more streams and like intermittent videos and stuff like that. I think it'd be really cool for like some shorter experiments, but really just got to kind of get around to it.
Yeah, the idea behind it, that's what I was saying.
Well, I mean, most of the people that have debunked, that have gone, like, my favorite one was when Penn and Teller, I can't remember if it was an episode of Bullshit or if it was just another thing, but they they blindfolded, they just threw acid in his face. Fuck you, dude.
I can see him doing it.
They blindfolded somebody, had him using a Ouija board, right side up, everything worked fine, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, all right. They flipped the Ouija board around, like, so it was like upside down, but the blindfolded guy didn't know that, and they basically went through the same experiment. But the planchette kept going where the letter was supposed to be, not where it actually was. So if it was anything other than his own subconscious doing it, it should have been intelligent enough to go to the correct letter, not backwards. And so that particular experiment was one of the ones that really made me think twice about it. I was like, yeah, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. I guess I'm still open to the possibility.
Maybe the spirits just can't read good.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a Ouija board in another language other than English alphabet. First off. So what happens when, you contact Jose?
Well,
or
they have the same alphabet.
Okay. Who has a different alphabet, Sarah?
Russia.
Okay. So what happens when I contact the ghost of Putin?
Putin's still alive.
It's the only Russian name I know right now. We just went through this whole election process.
Gorbachev, is he still alive?
I don't know.
Yeah, Gorbachev's still alive.
Stalin. Yeah, if I wanted to talk to anybody, it'd be Stalin.
If it's Stalin, why not Hitler?
Because he's German and they have the same alphabet.
Theirs was different too.
No, they have the same
alphabet.
They got the dots.
Oh my god, they have the same letters. It doesn't make the dots don't make a fuck bit of difference.
When you're looking at different alphabets.
And the Guten Grog.
Russia, China, Greece.
The Floggengagen.
Basically, Asian countries and Russia.
Greece.
Most places have the same.
So how come all our EVPs are in English?
Because we're in places that they've been speaking English for a pretty fucking long time.
But we're also in Texas where they speak a lot of Spanish.
But there's been people here speaking English for a while.
You know what it makes me wonder? Okay, so one of the theories behind EVPs is the whole thing is pareidolia, right? So you're just making noises out of your brain's just interpreting white noise as something they can recognize. So it's always going to be the language that you're doing or whatever. But let's say for just a minute, EVPs are absolutely real, right? And it's not pareidolia. Do you think it is... Well, not do you think, but there's a very real possibility that there are more EVPs in there we're not catching, but since it's in a different language, our ears, like when we're listening to it, we're not making sense out of that white noise. So I think it would be a really good idea if we had people that spoke different languages than English, like listen to some of our stuff too, and see if they pick something out different than the things that we pick out.
Well, if you're going to talk about them speaking a native language, then you're going to speak of them being a human that is dead, that was once alive, which was never my theory on anything paranormal, even back when I was a kid and I was super religious, because what religion leaves people just walking the earth? You go to one place, you go to the other. If you're Catholic, there's a couple, but you don't just wander around. Your soul doesn't just up and wander the earth. You go to one place or the other. It wouldn't be humans. It would be something else outside the realm of humanity. And why wouldn't it use the language you know? If it wants to fuck with you.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, if it really wants to fuck with me, it can speak Latin. But aside from that...
Liberate tutti me. Exi feliz. No. Candyman?
I would assume that it wasn't a dead human, because that's just fucking silly.
You know You know you hunt ghosts, right?
I don't think that ghosts are dead people. If there is any such thing as ghosts, it has nothing to do with people.
You also play D&D. I just want to point out.
Thanks. Nerd.
No, I
Nerd.
I don't know. I mean, I agree to an extent, but it's just, I don't know. It's like the same argument I have with like Eddie or something when we're playing D&D. He's like, that's ridiculous. There's no reason that would be a thing. Dude, we're playing a fantasy game right now. You just casted a fireball.
Okay, well, in real life land, when people die, their souls don't wander the earth.
Who says this is real life land?
Me. I said this is real life.
I'm just saying, in real life land, you take a tape recorder and you've been going out to graveyards expecting someone to talk to you.
Never expecting.
Okay. Well, then why do you do it?
It's fun. Goatman.
But we just talked about how less fun it's getting.
It's still fun.
The thrill's gone. The adrenaline rush.
I still like the
I think it's that she secretly hopes she's wrong.
We really need somewhere that's
Doesn't
like...
everybody secretly hope there is some sort of afterlife that's not miserable?
No, I don't.
I think if I'm hanging out in graveyards, I would rather there not
Have
be.
you ever seen the play Our Town?
Yeah.
Yeah, the chick that dies and they all just basically live in the cemetery and all you have to talk to is the people in that cemetery. Nope. Okay, I want either...
I need to invest in a better plot.
I'm okay with an afterlife that's good or no afterlife at all. I do not want the option for a bad afterlife.
Then there's no balance.
Nope. Don't care.
It's not the Force. I don't need balance.
It is the Force.
We'll just take all the serial killers and pedophiles and all those people. They just go away. They just cease to exist, and then cool people are left over. And then as soon...
That's how the Bible ends.
And then as soon as Zach Bagans gets to the afterlife, we just all jump him. Like, Alden wasn't haunted!
You wonder if when like a ghost hunter dies, if everybody's like, hey, we've been trying to talk to you for years. He's like, well, shit, now I can't.
You idiot!
Well, fuck. Like after Houdini died, where the ghost's like, you were wrong!
No, we said bring back the posse. It is. It's a bad joke.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's a bad joke. It's a bad show. So if you're just tuning in, we're a paranormal show.
You know how you balance the force? You kill all the younglings.
He even killed the younglings.
That's how you balance the force.
He killed the younglings. Oh.
I don't even watch Star Wars, and I know how you balance the force. You kill younglings. What?
Yeah, that's... I was looking at Allie's comment about Kyle, because a lot of the history we pulled up for Kyle was, you know, it was Native American war and stuff like that, and the two EVPs we got there are both in English. And I was expecting that if we got an EVP there, that it wouldn't be in English.
One of the EVPs and
but
a giant animal running at us.
I'm just talking about the words, and I would expect... And I guess that's what my thought was, and I didn't express it well. Is like I would expect like a Native American language EVP to come through, but if I heard Native American speaking in there, I might not only would I not understand it, I probably wouldn't even recognize it as an EVP because hearing that like because the EVPs sound kind of weird anyway. You only barely recognize it as speech sometimes.
And by the time you're 9 months old, your brain's already wired for whatever language you're going to learn. So whatever you have in you when you're born that picks up other languages is gone by the time you're a year old.
But I'm wondering like if like in any of our recordings there is Native American EVPs in there. But, like, I'm not even picking up on it. Like, I don't even recognize it as a speech pattern because, A, it's so foreign to me, and B,
well, you'd have
it
to
comes
find
in
a
so
Comanche
weird.
that still speaks the language, and that's...
Or an Anadarko. Those are still around.
Yeah, I don't know. The language might be pretty...
I've captured some things in the past where it, like, sounded like chanting or just, like, it sounded like it had a cadence where it sounded like speech, but I didn't tag it as an EVP because couldn't understand it. It didn't even sound like gibberish, so it almost you almost write it off as, okay, that's something mechanical in the back, because it doesn't even have any kind of word to it or whatever. But it'd be really nice to have contacts with people that speak different languages that could also listen
Yeah,
to
we
some
try
of the stuff and
asking
maybe catch
questions
it.
in their language. Actually, one time at Carter, we looked up a phrase in Native American, but it wasn't the right tribe.
No, I think it was. I think it's just I looked like I was trying to read it and it didn't have any of the phonetics in there so that I could do it right. And I probably just pissed off anything that was there, because like, you just ordered a taco.
Comanche's going to be what you're going to find around where I live, because Glen Rose, Comanche Peak. And there's only, like, the Comanches didn't go into the res until, like, their tribe was almost obliterated. There's only a few of them left. Almost no.
I'm trying to remember what it was I was trying to do at Carter, like what language it was.
It was Comanche. Because remember, they had the signs about the Comanches coming in and taking the people from town.
And I want to say we got like some kind of weird like cadence back or something like that, but it was completely unintelligible, and we decided it was really just background noise. But it'd be real interesting to have somebody else that like spoke other languages listen to some of our white noise and see if they pick out different things than what we picked out.
Yeah.
That maybe we're like, oh no, that's just like a car in the back. I mean, that's a bad example, but you know. There's a lot of things that we might write off as a natural noise, but it could actually be speech that we're just not
that our brains are conditioned to write off because we don't understand it.
Right,
so.
like if I hear somebody speaking Spanish behind me, I'm from Texas, I immediately recognize it as Spanish or whatever. But I mean, if somebody's speaking Chinese off in the far distance, I may not even realize that that's somebody talking. It just sounds like blah 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 blah, blah in the back. It all turns into background noise that you just kind of tune out. But
Guy on YouTube has a channel where he teaches the Comanche. That would be interesting. I wonder if you could send him a file.
oh, that would be cool. Yeah, forward us the link if you can, and we'll actually try that. That would be interesting.
Because I remember when I was looking up the Anadarko and the Comanche thing, and I know I'd looked up to see if there was any remaining ties to the Comanche tribe, and I was actually startled to find that there was a res that had a Comanche adjunct to it.
I don't know. The other thing I was thinking was really weird is I was talking about how things have gotten a little bit different after the expo and the panel and all that. And in addition to actually getting contacted for more more investigations, the other thing we've been getting contacted by other groups lately, but not like we were before. They're like, hey, can you check out my evidence? Like, can you look at it? Like, we really like your videos. We like the way you do stuff. Blah blah blah. And we're starting to get recognized more as like a serious group that knows what they're talking about, which is really ironic because we just spent the last hour and a half talking about me pooping in the woods. So if any of those people that contacted me are listening to this show, I'm sorry. No, really, we know what we're doing, kind of. Not really. But like one of them, like Credible Paranormal, they sent me a couple of pictures, asked me to look at it, and they wanted to talk shop with me a little bit. They may possibly come on a future show for like an interview too. The guy from Fort Worth Paranormal was talking back and forth with him, and as much as like I made him just cringe at that panel,
He was pleasant.
yeah, no, he had a good temperament too. I mean, he very obviously does like ghost hunting with, he very obviously had a religious background and stuff like that. Like he believes in the paranormal like that. And we were going through the panel. I don't think we talked about the panel on our show.
No,
we haven't had a show since then.
Well, here's how it starts. Everybody gives the girl with social anxiety the mic at the very beginning.
Well, they said, okay, so who wants to talk first? Raise your hand or whatever.
No, and then-
And Sarah puts her hand up.
No, that is not what happened. They said, "Who wants to take the mic? Raise your hand." No one did. So at the end, we all kind of looked at him, and he said, "No ladies first." So I looked at one of the chicks on the end. She nodded at me, and I stood up to grab the mic and hand it to her. And then everyone stared at me. I got halfway through the
and
question.
I can't even remember what the question was. She was like, and I'm like, okay, I got
I
this.
talked for like 5 minutes about nothing and just and put my head down.
Yeah, she just did heads down, thumbs up for the rest of the panel. That was a lot of fun though. I really liked that. I think she did a good job. I don't know if it was on accident or on purpose, but the lady that coordinated that, and you went with us on the interview, she picked the perfect 3 groups really to showcase up there, because we were actually all 3 very different in the way we were.
The guy on the end's like, "Oh, we're all the same." Like, actually, dude.
Well, and that was the really boring group at the end. I won't say what group. I doubt they're listening to my podcast.
I'm sure they were pretty cool. It's just
They seemed like a group that invested a lot of money into a lot of equipment and didn't know anything about what they had bought.
It's when they had the sensitive that I wanted her. I was thinking something really hard during that whole panel. I had a thought in my head, and I was like, okay, if she's really sensitive, she's going to hear this thought I'm thinking, and at the end, she's going to walk up to me and she's going to say it, and it's going to prove it. It's going to prove to me that there are psychics. She never read my thought.
Okay, they had an amplifier with crystals glued to the front of the amplifier.
But she didn't walk up to me.
Amplifier.
But the whole time I was thinking, you're a dumbass, and she never walked up to me and she said it. And I didn't mean it in a malicious way. I just wanted to get her attention.
Is there a way to think you're a dumbass and it not be in a malicious way?
Apparently the way Sarah was doing it.
I'm never malicious.
It wasn't malicious enough. It was really good because, okay, so the group tour, right, it was a big group. Like big. Like they brought like their whole group out for the panel or whatever. I brought Sarah and Allie, and because I was like, I'm just gonna bring a couple of speakers, not a big deal. The dude to my left, it was just him. He was like, no, I just do this, whatever. The group to the right of us, like they brought out the whole family. They brought out like 4 carts of equipment, and they like needed all the tables, but it was really funny because that group over there made a whole lot of assumptions on how investigations are supposed to go, or how investigations should be conducted. He's like, oh yeah, I'm sure we all do the same thing or whatever. We do this, and this, and like the guy sitting next to me from the other group's like, I don't do it that way. Do you do it that way? I'm like, I don't do anything like that. I don't. What are you talking about?
Well, they were talking about how they had the psychic go through first, and
yeah, and I mean, okay, so
I like the way they did that though. They said they had the psychic go through first and write down the things, and then basically hide it from everyone else till they did their investigation.
I am totally for that. Like,
Which would be
we don't use a psychic
to use
in our
psychic,
group.
I guess. I don't believe in them, but
I don't either, but like we say, personal experience is okay too. So whether you call it psychic, sensitive, or just personal experience, if you got somebody that thinks they're sensitive or whatever, send them in first and let it write. Just don't spoil the rest of the group with that information beforehand, and I think that's okay. And I would still call a lot of it coincidence, probably, because there's no way to prove it. But it would be a cool coincidence if it happens over and over and over with
frequency. I just kind of had a thought, or I might feel bad for people who are legitimately psychic. Because what if it's like a trick you can do, like, you know, where you can like flip a quarter into a cup, but when everybody's looking, you suddenly flub up and
I've thought about that a lot. Like, okay, so if you're psychic, you should be able to do this and this. Well, what if you can't control it to that degree? Like, it doesn't always work.
Or at all. What if your anxiety, or what if you have like stage anxiety with your psychicness?
Like, I can't pee for a drug test to save my life.
I can't speak on stage.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't completely disbelieve it. I just don't think that there's any way to prove it 100% accurate. So there's no way I can call it evidence. Like, I'm always interested to hear from somebody that has a feeling or something like that on a job, but I'm never just going to call it evidence.
The only psychic experience I've ever had is
It's stupid. No, don't. All you're doing is giving him more power by actually acknowledging his existence. Just. It's just a small town girl.
stuff. Yeah.
Shit, that's what we did. Oh, anyway, so we had that group to the right, and they were big, and you would think they would be the coolest one there because they had every gadget you can think of. They had the Huff Paranormal portal out there, and like they were just so.
I walked up to him and I wasn't even thinking, and I do this on occasion where I'll see something completely inappropriate and rude without thinking about it, like the fridge magnets episode at Walmart that Allie will remember, where I asked the chick where fridge magnets were, and she said, "What are fridge magnets?" I said, "They're magnets you put on the fridge." Because it's obvious, and she was an idiot. And then everybody looked at me like I was a bitch. But I walked up to him and I was like, "Does this box capture the ghosts?" And they looked at me like I was an asshole.
It looks like the damn ghost trap from Ghostbusters.
And that's what I walked up to him and asked, and I didn't know I was being rude. It was the first thing.
Well, I really liked how that piece of equipment was addressed because the question was, "What's your favorite piece of equipment?" And the guy next to me, not from that group, he goes, "I don't know about you, but my favorite piece of equipment is whatever the hell that is right there. I want to know how that works." Dude, I just died. And that guy was really funny. He was also smug as hell too.
Yeah.
Like more so than me. Like
that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because because y'all were making me out to be the a-hole, and then y'all were like, no, it's not so bad. I think it was only in comparison to the guy sitting next to me.
Well, like everybody else is like, oh, personal experience.
Well, because
psychics and Brad's like, fuck you all.
Because one of the viewer questions is like, has anybody ever investigated the A.W. Perry house? And he's like, I'm about to. No, we talked to that lady, and she's like, it ain't happening. Like, remember you were at the interview, she's like, nobody's doing this.
Because the owners wouldn't let anybody.
And
she
like,
wasn't trying to be a bee.
Like 10, 15 minutes before the thing, she's like, oh, that guy's group there, she's like, yeah, FW Paranormal never even called back or confirmed or anything like that, so if they don't show. So he literally just showed up 15 minutes before this thing. He was like, hey, let me set up over here and tell you about, how big my penis is. And so for him to be like, oh yeah, I'm investigating in a couple of months, I know is total horseshit because
I don't know, if he gets pushy enough, they might let him do it just to shut him up. Have you ever noticed people do that?
It sounds to me like he was just saying it just to be the guy.
Yeah. I don't want to get investigations that way, but I'd really like to investigate that place.
But I don't think that's the way to go about it.
I kind of want to go out to that place she was telling us in the interview. Way out and...
Oh, the fort.
Yeah.
You remember what fort that was?
You said the place smelled bad, like you'd been through the area before.
Oh, that Sulphur Spring. That was over in Sulphur Springs.
Sulphur Springs.
Bulk Springs, maybe?
Started with a B, I want to say. I don't remember.
No, Brag's in.
But yeah, that panel was good, like, because they basically ask a question and they'd get each group.
Oh no, was she talking about San?
I don't want to say it was near San Marcos.
No, it was where Aaron went to boot camp.
You're wrong.
It was south of that little shit town where they wrote me a ticket.
Yeah, because I remember you saying
that
you got a ticket there.
It's the town where the lake recently turned red because of the drought. Where did Aaron go to boot camp? Stephen, we drove out there a million freaking times. What town is it? Ballinger was the little shit town.
And now we're one step closer to still not knowing where we were talking about.
But the one next to Ballinger is the city that we're talking about. It's where Aaron went to boot camp, and we went out there and we stayed in a hotel a few times. It's an awful town, but it's a total military town, and it had some history to it. It was a pretty interesting place.
Right, it was like it was an old fort or something that was on it.
She was telling us that there was like this little girl that I guess had died there.
Mm-hmm.
And was like moving things around in the one room in the barracks, and she refused to go in there ever again.
I her name was Victoria. I guess I need to call her back because she said she still knew somebody that worked there and could get us in, maybe.
Oh, San Angelo, that's it. Okay.
Bam!
Wrong.
San Angelo. But I thought it was a good panel because I got the look with one of my answers.
Oh, the other team was like,
Other team. It sounds like a game show. I just realized, and that's probably
You were playing Double Dare.
I think that's why that went so well to me because I felt like I was in a game show the whole time.
Was it Family Feud?
The way it worked was really cool though because she'd ask a question, like each group would give their individual answer on it, and she was like, "Oh, how do your methods differ?" And the jackasses on the right were like, they don't. We all do the same thing." And then it like came to me, and I'm like, "That guy's wrong." I'm like, "We do something."
Wrong.
I was like, "We do something totally different." First, in a nice way. I was totally not I'm a jackass on this show.
I thought we were going to get booed when you were like, oh, and she's not religious. I was like, could you not?
Oh, yeah.
That's how I get crucified on this lawn.
Yeah, like all in one answer. I was like, they're psychic stupid. They don't know how to use their equipment. This one here doesn't like Jesus. That one's a Jew. This guy's cocky, and I'm an a-hole. That's how we hunt ghosts. And they handed the mic to the other guy. He's just like,
Yes, you can hear everyone being disappointed at once. I was like, I don't believe in ghosts, and the crowd's like, what? Like,
I said there's people. That's not what I said. I made a very valid point. I said our group is comprised of people that both believe in the paranormal and don't believe in the paranormal. We're balanced in our evidence. We're looking for evidence. We're not looking for ghosts. And I think most of them actually got it. Like I was looking at their faces. Most of them were okay.
Yeah.
Some of them were, you could tell, were forced to be there by their spouse or something. They're like, I'm sitting on the lawn of the A.W. Perry house.
I think the sensitive on the end got a little offended.
I hope she did because I didn't believe in her at all.
I kind of wish I would have went because I'd have been like, well, I just believe in pie.
And the other thought I had about the sensitive thing is, apparently EMF fields get to me and they don't get to some people. Maybe that's what it is.
Speaking of sensitive,
but
There was a ghost.
I passed the mic off to the dude to my left, and he's like, well, actually, you can't just rely on your equipment. You gotta rely on your senses. I've been in this a long time. I've had to banish ghosts. And this.
You gotta require on your feelings, and I'm just like,
yeah.
that's exactly what you can't rely on. It's not.
But I thought it was real interesting because you had the two groups that had like all this
You had the
stupid
totally
equipment
like
out there, and then after the whole thing, like a lot of people came up to us and wanted to talk to us about.
they had the
certain
group that
things.
was like totally steeped in myth. Then you have the guy on the left that's kind of. He believes in the other stuff, but he does some actual ghost hunting apparently. And then we're just noobs. I don't know. Everyone else seemed to have been doing it a lot longer than we had.
I had the impression that, especially the group on the right, they had been doing it a lot longer, but their work wasn't of the same quality. Like, I don't know, just because you've been doing something longer than somebody doesn't mean you're doing it better
Well,
than
and
somebody.
they got a lot of visits at their table, but that was because everyone wanted to see the portal thing.
Oh my god, it was just a freaking...
Ovulus.
It
It
was
was
just
just stuffing out words. And they were doing that real time, because I walked up to them, because a bunch of people came up to me and asked me if they were doing that real time. They were doing that real time, and it was spitting out words. Why would it have been spitting out words right there? Was that spot haunted? I bet the spot...
Because that table was haunted.
I bet a spot the mile down is haunted, too. I bet everywhere they put that is haunted.
I don't trust anything that works off of a tablet app or a computer app. It's just spitting out words. Like, I don't like the Obulus apps. They're dumb. Like, I get the premise behind it. You have a dictionary where different words can be triggered by different EMF fields, right? But if you're talking to dead things,
Okay, and I tried to play with that Ovulus. How would they know how to make the right word?
Yeah, shouldn't it take them like at least like I can't make it say certain words with a magnet, so how can they figure it out? Like it doesn't make any sense that it would work that way. It's so dumb.
I don't know.
And basically their solution to this is more legitimate because I put it through an amplifier that I glued crystals to the front of.
I think it's fun because it gives a real time answer. I think that's their stick on that. They want answers right now.
We use our spirit box at every single location that we go to, and I've only ever got 2 words out of it, and they were unintelligible.
And it has to be more than one word for it to really count.
It has to be extremely freaking relevant too. Like it can't be like a yes or no question. It's got to be like, hey, what's your name? And then it has to say like Jeff.
Now, what were we watching? Ghost Adventures. That was the one where they were using the obvious, and it kept coming up with similar responses.
Yeah, like if
Basic dirt, earth, buried earth under.
But who's to say that program doesn't say okay? It just takes a group of words and centers it around like a certain
or
theme.
Who's to say they didn't cut out a bunch of shit in between?
I don't know what they're doing.
I was just saying if it did something like that, that would be an interesting response.
Yeah, I always operate under the premise that it's not fake, like almost like that Reddit forum. You gotta pretend it's real and that it's not.
It's the No Sleep forum.
No Sleep, sorry.
No Sleep on Reddit. I plug them.
No Sleep till Brooklyn?
We sing that Don't Sleep with Brooklyn because there was this girl in my high school named Brooklyn and you don't want to sleep with.
This is a paranormal show. If you're just not tuning in.
Now I forgot what we were talking. Anyway, I plug No Sleep because it's a forum on Reddit and you tell horror stories and you basically... the premise is you have to pretend it's a real story, and I've written a couple stories on there actually. I put the Kyle Cemetery one on there, but it got bounced by a moderator for some reason. I need to cycle it and put it back on. But you act like it's actually happened, and I got a response from a guy, but I couldn't respond to him before they pulled my story.
Huh.
And I wondered what he had to say about it, and I didn't see his handle before I could. Actually, the Goatman story's on there somewhere from Old Foamy in Cleveland. I don't know why.
And they didn't bounce that one off?
It has there's restrictions on the forum, word amounts and stories and.
I don't know. I just think Old Foamy is boring as shit.
Oh, this story's. You can't say they're made up, but it's obviously made up. It's extreme. Like they saw a goat man running at him, but it's funny because he's like, I saw a guy with like a goat head, and the guy's like. One of the first comment below is like, dude, me and my cult were out there. That was you? I was just wearing that goat head for that ritual.
That would actually be pretty funny.
You were in that car we were trying to scare away that.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun at the panel. I had a lot of fun at the expo. We got a lot of people at the table. Got to talk to a lot of cool people came up, had some like interesting questions. I really like those 2 guys that came up, and like they started with razzing us about, well, how come all the ghost shows film everything at night, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they were expecting me to go, it's for ratings, dude. Oh, well, you don't think ghosts come out in the day? I'm like, all our best evidence is in the day. We also do this during the daytime too.
Well, that was the question. Why do you do it at night? Well, most of us have day jobs. I've got kids.
Of course, your kids think that this is actually how I pay for things.
Yes, that Caitlin thinks he's a professional. Like, this is what he does.
Yeah, I got that vibe while we were camping.
Yeah, it was funny though, because like.
What's your video guy do during the day? He's a ghost hunter.
It made me laugh. Like, no, I do inventory. But yeah, I guess a lot of people ask that is, why do you film at night? There's a few reasons. Like, all of us have day jobs, first off, so it makes it really hard to do
traffic. That was noted.
Traffic.
Watching Ghost Adventures.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody finally addressed that too, because they don't do that on the ghost shows. But I mean, if you try to do a ghost hunt during business hours, good luck, because
Yeah.
It was Jefferson where we were doing the antique place, and the place next door was still partying, and you could hear everything they did in that antique
Right,
store.
and so like every EVP we got there, we basically had to throw out because
Anything you heard, because they were
Right.
so loud next door doing karaoke or whatever.
that's one reason you do it late at night. Also because of lighting. Like if you want to do any experiments with alternate light, like if you want to see what shows up in the UV spectrum, the IR spectrum, red spectrum, anything like that, you have to eliminate other light sources. You can't do that during the daytime. I mean, you can't indoors. You can black out all the windows, but those are some reasons that a lot of your stuff happens at nighttime: is timing, sound control, population control, light control. It makes it a lot easier. And then, of course, a really big one, the reason the high budget ghost shows do it is it looks cooler. I mean, it's just
Well, and creep factor, humans are innately scared of nighttime.
right. But I think everybody was just really like, cause I mean, our videos follow a lot of those same formats, but we also do stuff during the day too. And I think a lot of people were really surprised to hear us say that like actually all of our best evidence was captured during daytime shoots.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, Steven. Allie thinks it's funny, but I don't know what that means.
Did I miss a Who reference? No, I don't think so.
I think he just said, I think Steven had a stroke. Can someone go check on him?
But I don't know. I see a lot of cool things happening with the group. Hopefully, I plan a better show next time. we had one show planned, and then I changed it like 45 minutes before we got in here.
Oh, he works with the weenus. That's it. Press transfoster. He works with the
That has an I.
Yeah, we couldn't read it, dude. He can't spell. Yeah, that was the joke around our house forever, that you worked with the weenus. Allie was explaining your job one time, and I was like, he works with the weenus. He works with the weenus.
Oh, yeah. I've always been like Chandler.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows what the hell Chandler does.
But I don't know, the show, but I'm still recovering from whatever my kids infected me with. I feel like crap, so. Kids are tiny disease vectors.
Chenandler Bong.
Miss Chenandler Vong.
Mrs. Chandler.
Yes.
Miss.
Has anybody got any questions for us they want answered? We're on a delay, so that takes a minute. So, hey, if you got any questions, write them in because we're getting ready to wrap up the show. But I had a good time at the expo. I had a good time at the panel. I'm really looking forward to the jobs we got coming up, especially like the commercial one. I'm really interested. Like the commercial one's gonna be really cool because we're gonna be able to get out all the equipment like all at the same time. Check.
I don't think we've ever done a real commercial one before. I mean, we've done the ghost hunt where they gave us privilege to go in before or after.
Yeah, like Jefferson. But I mean that was with like a big group. We're gonna have it. This will be our first commercial one where we have exclusive access, and so it's gonna be real interesting to see how we do that. Of course, we got to go in the weekend before, film interviews. We're gonna do the walkthrough, and then I'm gonna kind of put out like an itinerary, a plan for that one because I'll have to lay out. Not all of you guys will, because not everybody can go to the initial thing, and then we'll just go from there. That should be cool. Guys got anything brilliant to add?
No, I'm sleepy.
You can think of? Yeah, it's getting late. So, I guess that's all we got for tonight's show. I guess I want to take the time to thank all of our subscribers and supporters. We encourage you to send us any questions, comments to ntparanormal@gmail.com. For more information about the group and upcoming events, check us out at www.ntparanormal.com. Or you can visit us at our Facebook page at facebook.com/ntparanormal. You can also check us out on Instagram, Twitter, keyword NTParanormal. And if you would like to download this show or any of our past archive shows for just like listening offline, you can find the link on our website, or starting tomorrow, this episode will be available on iTunes plus all past episodes. And for all things paranormal, go to ntparanormal.com. Later.